Welcome back. It didn't look good for this spring's maple sugar season when temperatures hit the upper 60s and low 70s the last week in February. But with March came the big snowstorm and a return to colder weather, which gave maple producers a second chance. Here's our Jack LaDuke.
Sugar makers in the North Country say that it will be a sweet maple syrup production season in spite of the unusually warm weather kicking off the season, then turning cold, stopping the flow of sap in the trees.
With the weather the way it's been, it was very cold. Well, it was very warm, and then it got very cold. So when it was supposed to be cold, it was warm early in the season. So in some sugar makers made a little bit of syrup then.
Does that confuse the tree?
It doesn't confuse the tree. The question is, what's going to happen in the next few weeks? There's an end window to when you can't make sugar anymore because the tree is what we call budding out. So the buds are swelling, the leaves are starting to grow, the sugar content in the sap drops, and the tap hole can become inactive. And that happens when you have warm days and warm nights.
The maple syrup production season in many places is now winding down. With new innovations and techniques in use, it is attracting more to the craft of making the golden syrup.
We're getting higher vacuum at the tap hole. We're using newer spouts and tubing systems that allow us to get higher vacuum and better performance at the tree. One of the biggest things, especially for the smaller producers, is the new 3/16 tubing. That allows people who just have 10, 20, 100 trees, whatever, to be able to get good vacuum at their tree. If you have the right site and you can run the small diameter tubing, you can collect just as much sap as people who invest lots of money in a big vacuum system and all the releasers that go with it.
About 3,000 to 5,000 gallons of sap comes into these 3,000-gallon holding tanks on a good day at the Lake Placid facility.
Our trees are tapped, and those taps go to tubing, and that tubing goes to something we call a mainline pipe, and that comes into this area, which is our sap house. The mainline pipe comes in, this releaser's off right now, but that mainline pipe comes in, and there's a vacuum suction here, which puts vacuum pressure on the whole system. So we're actually sucking the sap out of the trees.
Only one tap hole is placed in each of the 6,000 maple trees at the Eline Forest to prevent tree damage. The Eline station is connected with the Cornell University Research Department. The people here work statewide with other maple syrup producers and the public.
The maple syrup industry is really booming right now. It ties into the local food movement. It ties into the health food movement. I mean, I know it's sugar, but if you're going to eat sugar, eat maple sugar and maple syrup, because that's going to have nutrients and other valuable things that you get from the tree. Primarily nutrients and minerals that you wouldn't get from things like corn syrup.
Reports show that more people are buying maple syrup. Growth is not only coming from the United States, but from overseas. European countries are using it in new food creations. Asian countries like its sweetness. While Quebec is the largest producer of maple syrup, Vermont and New York follow second and third in the nation. New York producers would like to see more of the state's maple trees made available for tapping. There are thousands of maple trees on state property within the 6 million acre Adirondack Park, but the state does not allow any of them to be tapped for their sap. And this is something that the maple syrup producers have objected to for a long time, asking the state to rescind that order, allowing them to make more New York State maple syrup and expanding the natural food industry. While it is not good to judge a book by its cover, judging maple syrup by its color works just fine. But the longer the season goes on, the darker the syrup gets and the flavor degrades. At this point, the maple tree has done its part in giving us the golden sweet syrup we love so much. For Mountain Lake Journal, I'm Jack LaDuke in Lake Placid.